She just made history. Jordan has made.
If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Acknowledge us.
Hey, it's the Red Carpet Ring. We are here today to talk about when will WWE begin the women's secondary titles. And the titles I'm referring to is the Women's Intercontinental Championship and the Women's United States Championships. These are titles that WWE has talked about for quite some time. And now it seems like it's about to happen. It's been talked about for a long time. We do know that WWE is getting stronger and better with the women's roster. There are more women on the roster and a lot more talent on the roster. You guys hit the like, subscribe button as you come into the ring live on here and Facebook. But yes, this is a good topic. We know that the women are more talented, and we know that there's going to be eventually more opportunities for women on the roster having an Intercontinental and Women's Championship. Now, whatever shows they put them on, that all depends on them. But other than that, though, this will be a very good way to give women on the roster opportunities because, everybody, unfortunately, cannot be WWE Women's World Champion or WWE Women's Champion. So until they get to either one of those championships, they need to get to one of these first, and this will even help them, make them be more noticeable so they can be a future women's world champion or a future women's champion. I think that will help out a great deal for the women. Now, we know that, there are more opportunities for WWE. You got Raw going to Netflix this fall, and we also have SmackDown returning to the USA Network this fall. And also now on top of that, not even just the main roster, you guys know recently we also have we do have a new midcard championship already for NXT, which is the Women's North American Championship. So we know that just debuted, that just happened back at NXT Battleground last month. And the match was great. Remember, we had a match for that championship, which was the ladder match. And this was at Battleground. We had 6 women battle out for the inaugural Women's North American Championship. And it ended up being Kalani Jordan who won the Women's North American Championship, being the first champion ever in the history of the championship. And I believe, WWE is pretty much testing the waters. They're trying to see how that's going to go, how her run going to go, how the championship will bring prestige to the roster on NXT and everything else. And I think eventually WWE will follow suit after NXT because this was a great match. If you guys saw that match, Kalani Jordan shined like a diamond. She did very well.
Top. She did it. She just made history. Jordan has made history.
So congratulations to Kalani Jordan for winning that championship. She's the first ever champion. She already had a couple title defenses already, so she's still champion at this time. But she's gonna be solid though, and I believe that WWE will follow suit after that. They're going to follow suit. Trust me, they're going to bring out these championships. We just don't know when, but I heard they're leaning towards considering bringing out the mid-card championships because there's plenty of women on the roster I can think in mind that'll be good mid-card championships for either or United States or Intercontinental. I'm pretty sure the women's United States will be on SmackDown, and the women's Intercontinental will be on Raw, as the regular men's Intercontinental and United States are on those shows already. Intercontinental for Raw, United States SmackDown. But I'll go over a few names of who I think would be good candidates for these championships. We could start out with Lyra Valkyria. Remember, she is a former NXT Women's Champion. She just got to the main roster, and she's been doing very well. She was in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match and also competed in the women's King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Now she went as far as going to the finals before losing to Nia Jax, the winner of Queen of the Ring. So her already just getting to the main roster, being involved in those two big matches, I think should be one of the top runners to win one of these secondary championships. Either or, since she's on Raw, I'll say Intercontinental. So that would be a good belt for her. I think that would do very well for Lyra Valkyria. But like I said before, she gets to a women's world title or women's championship, she could start out her career with this championship. I don't think it's a bad idea. Put one of these belts on her first. I think she'd be a very good candidate. Then another person I'll name off, we could start off with Dakota Kai. Now we know Dakota Kai recently was frustrated with the booking and how WWE was booking her. She said this on her gaming live stream. Now if she can't get to the women's world championship, also that's on Monday. She's on Monday Night Raw. Maybe she could be one of these women that could win one of these secondary titles of the Intercontinental or United States. Dakota Kai just came back from injury not too long ago. She's still in damage control. Now remember the storyline saying damage control needs change, as Iyo Sky said. Maybe she will be a good candidate for that championship. Maybe she would look good for it. I don't see why not. Dakota Kai would be a good candidate for it. So she could be a good one. It wouldn't be an issue at all putting her on that list. Not an issue at all. I think that'll help her out a lot. And it may even get her, if not to the Women's World Championship, maybe in the main event. It's just a thought. I think she'll be good for that. So Dakota Kai, I will put there too. Now, another person I would mention, now she's not on Monday Night Raw, she's on Friday Night SmackDown, and actually a former women's champion is Naomi. Naomi's another good candidate. Now, I know she just returned to WWE this year. I know she also was involved in the Money Bank ladder match, similar to Lyra Valkyria, and she was in Elimination Chamber match this year. So she's been doing her thing. If she can't get to the women's championship, world championship, or the women's championship again, maybe she could be, maybe since she on SmackDown, the women's United States championship, maybe she could be the first ever women's United States champion. Maybe this will rejuvenate her career, and maybe this will get her back to becoming a women's world champion once again. I don't see why not. It'll be a very, very good scenario for Naomi, so we'll see how that goes with Naomi. And there are plenty other women that I will mention too, but these three definitely stick out to me right now. There's a lot of women on the roster. Where I said that the roster's so loaded at this point. I don't see why not bring out these championships for either one of these women. It don't even matter who it is. I think it'll make a great, great deal. Make a very great deal. So I think it'll be amazing. It's something just to consider. WWE should definitely move forward with that. They bring all these other championships. Why not bring out a women's mid-card championship? I can understand if there was no women on the roster, but we have women on the roster. And I think that'll be a great chance for that being better. I don't see what's the big deal is. Maybe WWE's waiting on something. I don't know. But they should definitely should give that some serious thought, because you never know, that championship, either one could make the whole women's division look much brighter, whether it's the Intercontinental or the Women's Championship. So that's something that would definitely should be put into motion. We have everything else for the women's division. Why not? Now, after this, I probably said don't make no more championships for the women's division. They already got the tag team. They got the Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble. They even have the women's, their only Survivor Series, War Games type match style for the women's division. So they have a lot. But I would say don't do that any more championships after these two. And we see how the North American Championship is looking good right now. So we already have one, but it's for NXT. So we's gotta show. They have the NXT's showing WWE how they doing things, and I think it'll work out for the better. So I think that would be a definitely good idea, bringing these two championships out. Now it could be one or, but both will be good because every time I look up, WWE is signing new women to the women's division, whether they're from Independent, New Japan, or if there was an AEW, TNA, don't even matter. Then you got the partnership with TNA. This is going to make the championship look very, very good, but there's going to be more. I'm going to talk about this here. There's definitely more I'm going to talk about. All right. Now, all right. Can you guys hear me before we start? For the one, if you now, women's, it's been a stacked division for quite some time. We're gonna see too if they should create a mid-card championship. Should it be a women's Intercontinental Championship, or maybe a TV championship? Now we got a lot of women on the roster. We have plenty of women on Raw and SmackDown. We have women here that could display their talent. It could be a women's Intercontinental Championship that should be presented, or could it be a women's TV championship? Okay, let's see what happens regarding this though. Got to see what can happen. What is the reason for this? So let's see. There's a lot of women on the roster, and you can definitely see what happens next regarding the whole thing. We got, like I said, we got people like Natalia, Tiffany Stratton, a lot of people that can do it. It's just something that needs to happen finally. Let's see, we got two separate women's titles, but there's just too many women in the division right now, and I think it could very well be, highlighted that women could either have an Intercontinental and maybe a TV championship. Maybe you could have two separate women's titles. You could have the Intercontinental and you could have the TV title. You can have one on each brand. Maybe you could have the TV title on SmackDown, which would be USA Network. Also, you could even have the Intercontinental Championship on Raw, a women's Intercontinental Championship. We have to see what happens next. This topic is so big that maybe I should get some help on this one. Mr. Goodbread, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? Guy TBK, how you feeling?
I'm good. Start off Tuesday morning. Apologize for the bad audio this early morning, but this is a big topic I want to discuss of how we can have not just maybe one mid-card title, maybe we can have two or maybe just one. But at least the women's division is so stacked that maybe we could work out to have two women's mid-card titles, because Raw and SmackDown's on two different networks compared to right now. So who knows what can happen? What is your take on this whole thing? I mean, we could do a TV championship and an Intercontinental Championship. Who knows?
Man, I'm with you on that. I think we should pick one. It should be one. And I'm leaning towards the IC title, but then again, I'm also leaning towards the TV title. I think if they just inject a TV title just to have an undercard for the females, it'll bring a better quality to the show, because now you give us another storyline that we have to focus on, because that's all these titles are. These titles it represents storylines, you know what I mean? Because the culmination normally ends in a title match. You know what I mean? Every now and then you have your feud that don't require a title. But for the most part, in order to get the people to be engaged with the character, you need a title. And it's a lot of women. Like you say, though, the women division is stacked. And if you ask me, they're getting bigger. It's getting bigger. It's getting bigger. Like, so, man. And then now that I'm paying attention to NXT got all the talent. NXT got all the talent when it comes to the females. So, well, I got a question. How would you feel? How do you think if they was to try that women's revolution event again? How would you feel like? How do you think that'd turn out if they tried it now with this cast of characters?
I think it will work out great. Actually, the only thing I would ask if they do that, I think they did it before. Don't just do Raw and SmackDown women. Also add NXT to the pot. Have all of them on there, because it can showcase their talent, and maybe do the Mae Young Classic tournament again, or start a brand new tournament, or we can introduce. It's a good way to introduce these titles, saying, hey, whoever wins this tournament becomes the inaugural TV Women's Champion, or the or the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Maybe they could do it that way too. That'd be a good format.
Absolutely, man. Can you imagine a real official Queen of the Ring tournament though? With all of the brands, the NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. Can you imagine how that would, like, I mean, man, and honestly, WWE, they can keep opening the doors for these women because they have that women's tag team division also. We can't forget about. So like you have a girl like Shayna who should be pushed as a solo act. You know what I mean? Where you can link her with the Zoe, who's another one who could potentially be pushed. But then when you can link them together and make them a tag team, you got the Kabuki Warriors. I mean, that's my WrestleMania match. I would love to see the Kabuki Warriors defend the title against Zoe and Shayna at WrestleMania.
Well, another tag team I do like, I do like the Count of Chance and Kaden Carter, who were the previous champions. So that I know they had a match already, but I would like to see them, back in the tag team title picture.
Definitely, they give me the Hart Foundation, female version of the Hart Foundation. They give me that team chemistry. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that one.
So yeah, I think that would be great to highlight the talent. Something not to ignore, but I definitely see that happening. It could happen because you never know. You never know what can happen in the WWE. I mean, look at we got the Netflix deal, and like I said before, another option we could throw for the TV deal. If you can't do the TV deal, what do you think about this, good Brad? What if they did a partnership? Because the NWA has the women's TV title. What if they did a partnership with NWA Wrestling to defend the women's TV title through WWE and NWA? If they can't create their own TV title, what if they do that? Just go, off the NWA title. If they don't want to create their own, or maybe create it later on, that would be a good partnership. They could highlight NWA women talent too.
That's a fact, and we see they're going that route. They don't want to say it. They don't want to make it like if it's a big old thing. They don't want to mention the forbidden door. But definitely, we seen that this past Rumble with the TNA champion, the women's TNA champion, Grace. You know what I mean? So it'll work. It'll work. And then obviously they're working out something, because we haven't seen Naomi on WWE programming TV since the Royal Rumble. So, you know what I mean? I don't know what's up with that. I would have thought we'd seen her yesterday. And I mean, Friday come and we still don't see her, then I don't know. We got to do some research.
Well, Naomi was on SmackDown, but if you mean as far as a match, no. But they did see her backstage. It was a tease with her, being introduced to the SmackDown roster. If that's what you mean.
You're right. I did see that. I did see that one segment. I did. So you're right. I thought I'm just, I'm spoiled, man. I want to see more of Naomi. That's my girl, man. That's my girl, man.
Yeah,
That
she was
is
a
my
great
girl.
TNA World Champion. Great TNA World Champion.
Yeah, she's one of those ones that we got a chance to see. Like, she came a long, long way from being in the group with Cameron and the Funkadactyls. And, you know what I mean? She just worked hard. Worked her way up the rank. You know what I mean? Stayed loyal to Jimmy. And voila, her time came.
Yeah, definitely. Now, since you're here, Good Bread, it's funny you say we talk about this TV title. Thing about it is, bro. Recently, well, I ain't gonna say recently, but it was Bayley. She did a little interview a while back, and the interview was about creating a women's title. She talked about this herself, so it seemed like it's been talked about around. And I want to talk about what Bayley's had to say about it, and we're gonna play the clip real quick. This was with Sportskeeda Wrestling. Credit to Sportskeeda Wrestling, a great wrestling outlet. So with that being said, I think this is something we need to hear. So, like I said, I'm just impressed that this is what WWE may do. Definitely something they may do. And I think it's something that needs to be highlighted of how great it could be. So,
and that's
like
right. Because remember, back in the days, the women didn't have a market. Like, it was nobody really clamoring for some women's division or women. The women are getting ratings now. I mean, they're already main event at WrestleMania. They're already main event, and even we getting them in Saudi shows now. You know what I mean? They're wrestling in Saudi Arabia. Like, so, it's a market for the women. They might as well go on and get some money, make some money now.
Absolutely. But let's see what Bayley had to say regarding this whole thing. And let's see what happens. We're gonna play what Bayley had to say. So let's see what she had to say regarding this title. This has been talked about for quite some time, and it very well could happen.
One of the things that he said was that he's looking for the Intercontinental Championship and the United States. I spoke to Solo thanks to the guys at Sony, and one of the things that he said was that he's looking for the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship, again for the visual of everyone carrying the gold in the bloodline. Do you think the women need a Intercontinental Championship or a United States Championship as well?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It would be nice to have another title, but I think it's just going to take time. You know, when we wanted those women's tag team titles, it took a long time, and it took someone actually fighting for them. So if that's what we want, someone has to stand up for it and really fight for it and prove that it's going to be a benefit to the division.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was Bayley. She's on Sportskeeda. This was dated back to a year ago, actually, a little over a year ago. I think this was back in, if I had to guess, let me get my calendar correct. This was back in, I think it was a little over a year ago. And she talks about how that they need to add a women's title. And she says it's going to take time and work. And she mentioned how, she was the catalyst, along with Sasha Banks, of how to the women's tag team titles we talking about now as well took some work. She says it's going to take some time. So, thing about it is, while we talking about it, I think it very well may happen now that Bayley's talking about it. It very well may happen now. Very well may happen. You never know. But with that being said, Goodbread, how do you feel what Bayley said about the women's having a secondary championship, TV or Intercontinental or both?
Man, I agree with her. Like I said, I agree. I think they should definitely have one more mid-card title, just one. You know what I mean? Whether it's the IC or the television title, it'd give more meaning to the matches that they have on these shows. Now, it's not gonna hurt. It's not. We have two brands. You have SmackDown and you have Raw. You know what I mean? You could have them go like the same way they defend the tag team titles, where it's cross brands. You have them defend the mid card title cross brands. You know what I mean? It's only going to provide more quality, better quality matches and better quality TV. And the women that deserve to be highlighted will be highlighted, because it's not enough. It's not enough. They don't even use the Money in the Bank for the women's. They don't even use that properly. Like every last Money in the Bank winner has cashed in the same night or the next day. Like it's like, you know what I mean? They can make so much out of the storyline, but they just got to be more creative with it. But definitely the mid-card title should be there. They need to bring a mid-card title for these ladies. Think about it. Just last year, the women's division did not look like how it looked today. Remember the last time they tried to really do something with the women's division, they moved around Ronda Rousey, who is never the greatest women's wrestler ever anyway. Like, so it's like they tried to take it and do it with a fraud. We have real women wrestlers now. Let's try it out. Let's try that same blueprint, but with these women that we have that are talented, like really talented, not so much big names yet, but their talent to make them a big name.
Yeah, you said some very key points in there, how the women's division in 1 year went from very average to top tier, and how they could really showcase the women's talent. Look, we got Zoe Stark, Natalya, Candice LeRae, we got her on the screen, Indy Hartwell, Shayna Baszler, of course. These women could very well be highlighted. Mia Yim, they very well could be highlighted to becoming, a great secondary championship. And not just that, I think the secondary championship could also set them up in the future as well. It could very set them up. It could make them, it could make them very well be a future champion. It could very well be a future champion. It could be a stepping stone to the WWE Women's World Championship, similar to how the Men's Intercontinental Championship will go to right now, or the United States Championship. This could be the women's version of that. It could be a future world champion. People that are women that are now highlighted now, the depth could be highlighted with these titles or title. I think this could be a great title for that. And it could be great, like you said, for the ratings and great for the fans.
That's a fact. Think about it, bro. We went from Ronda Rousey, Mickie James, Iconics, Dewdrop, Nikki Cross, and nothing against those wrestlers, but the characters I'm talking about. So we went from that to we actually have Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Charlotte is hurt. Charlotte, man, we can keep naming them. Like we can keep Becky, Bayley. We have all of these names now, all in one roster. Like that was a level up. Now I got a question for you though, KD, TBK. If we did have an women's IC title championship today, who would you give it to? Who would you don it? Who would you put it on?
If I had to choose right now, the first champion, and she's one of my favorite wrestlers, I would say Natalya. Natalya would be the first person on my list. She's been putting work for years. She showcased what a women's wrestler should be, her great worth ethic, and also how she can definitely make the title look good. Not the title making her look good, she makes the title look good. If you understand what I'm saying by that. And I think she will be perfect to be the inaugural champion. So if I choose, I would say Natalya.
I cannot deny that, bro. I can't. That's one of those. The only thing AEW got right was putting the strap on Jericho first. That's right, though. I would put it on Natalya. Natalya, well, I would put it on her and give her a nice little run.
Absolutely, man. She deserves it, man. She's been putting work for years. I would love for her to have a women's world title, but if they're not going to do that with her, you can at least make her a mid-card champion. At least do that. I think that'll only be fair to do that.
You're right. Now, if I was going off of the actual, like, what they, like, who put in work this year, if I was going over the year that just passed, for me, I would put that IC title on Shotzi Blackheart. She was the worker.
Yeah, that's it right there. Shotzi,
yep. Her and between her and Bayley. See, Bayley is going for the world's title, so we gotta leave Bayley out of it. But they were the workhorse. They was the workhorse. While Rhea and Iyo was sitting pretty, the workers in that the women's division was Bayley and Shotzi.
I didn't know that. You know what you did. Talking about. I was fair and square. You're a legend, man.
Zoe Stark, I can't leave her out. Zoe too.
Yeah, I can't leave Zoe out. She came on at.
It'd be a good way to, like I said, good way to showcase the women's division. Now my question too, what they can do is, since you say you prefer one mid-card championship, not two, because you would narrow it down to one. What could happen is, it's a possibility. What if they just, they could very well put the secondary title on NXT only. What if they did a TV title on NXT only, since Intercontinental would be for the main roster? What if they only had an NXT version of a TV title? Since NXT is on CW this fall, it could be the CW title and just have that for the women's. That could help them too. That could also showcase their talent and even give them a bigger push to get to the main roster sooner than later.
I agree with that, but if you do that, then you put more time. Now you kind of go into what AEW is doing. Remember when AEW just had everybody with a fucking championship belt? Just everybody. Because remember, if you make a mid-card title for the big brand, you want to cross that. You want to cross brand that title. So that title get defended in NXT anyway. So now you have you're likable to have an NXT show where the NXT mid-card title is getting defended. The WWE, the main brands.
That's very, very true. Very, very true. That right there is undisputed right there.
And that is undisputed.
Mid-card titles getting so it caused that excessiveness. It caused that excess.
Or maybe call it a women's North American championship, because the men's do have on NXT a men's mid-card title with the North American championship. Maybe if not a TV title named, maybe the women's North American championship, because I think that'll work for NXT. But I know I see what you're saying with the whole, you want to cross branded. It's kind of like it could work, but it won't. It'll blow it up in their face later. So I see what you're saying.
Many people with a belt. It'll be too many people now with a title. So it's now it's like the titles really don't mean nothing. You'll devalue the actual title. You get what I'm saying? You're kind of because only reason why the men has the North American title is because that's not a cross brand title. You know what I mean? That's not a cross brand title. That is the NXT. That's an NXT exclusively brand title. They don't defend that on the main roster. They don't. You know what I mean? They don't defend that on the main roster.
What about the women's North American championship? Would you be open to them having that for their own brand? Since you said the men's only fit on NXT, what if the women's had one?
I think that'll work. That'll work. But now, with that said, if you do that, then you leave the mains brand, the main rosters, mid-card title, you leave that off. You don't cross-brand that now.
Exactly. You don't have to.
Yeah, or you just leave it to SmackDown and Raw. No NXT.
Yeah.
Just SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah.
So that it's still cross-branded, but it's not through all three brands. That'll work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because think about it. We have NXT, right? What if this happened? We have NXT, but we also, I know it's not really popular. What if it showed up on NXT Level Up, which is on Friday nights? So maybe that title could be defended on that brand NXT Level Up. Not every night, just every here and there. That could work too.
That'll work.
Just a thought. That's a thought. But the fact that, the fact Bayley even is highlighted, she talked about this. It sounds like it's going to happen. That she's talking about it. It just maybe she can't speak too much on it right now, because they're doing some stuff they can't allow to speak on it, outside of WWE. It's basically the old words. What happens here stays here right now. You can't broadcast that now until it happens. Let's keep this in house. We have plans, but you can't release those plans. Keep it in house for now. Maybe they are going to do a secondary women's championship. Bayley did talk about it. Remember, Bayley is behind, her and Sasha Banks is behind the women's tag team titles that we have now. Maybe they are working towards it now. Maybe they do have something in the works. We just don't know about it just yet.
It's a fact. It's a fact. The year is new. The year has just started. We only 2 months in. Who knows what they have planned? You know what I mean? You got to remember the Rock is now on board. He has a daughter who's in wrestling now. So, you know what I mean? Man, listen. Anything's possible, man. Anything's possible. And it's all going to lead to more revenue, man. It's all going to lead to more revenue. You think if they don't make a female's North American title, that's not going to sell out? That title going to sell. Now they can put the Glow title back out because now that they got Naomi back, it's just money. It's just all money.
Yeah, that's why Sasha Banks been laying around because she really wants to go back to WWE. AEW ain't going to work out, or if they even want her for that matter, that's not going to work. It's best for her to come back. This is where you gained your name, your popularity, your fame through WWE. Don't forget where you came from, Sasha Banks. But I think that'll work, though. I think the secondary women's title will work. They gave out a tournament for, like we said before. They got a Queen of the Ring. Bring that back in the Mae Young tournament. Bring those back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, that Queen of the Ring tournament is definitely take my money. And they can make that. They can make that its own women's branded pay-per-view.
Yep, definitely. I'm very impressed with women's wrestling. I was against the whole initially the Money in the Bank, but I think it's going to get better now. Now we're talking about these titles. Now we see what the roster and what direction WWE's going. I think the women's Money Bank is going to be better now because I was very, very, very vocal on how I was displeased of how that was being ran for the women's division with the Money in the Bank. And I think they're going to finally run it right this time. So,
yeah, that was disturbing. I hate the way they do the women with the Money in the Bank. Even though I'm a huge proponent that they shouldn't be putting these women in Hell in a Cell, bro. They shouldn't put the Hell in a Cell. That should be nixed out, bro. That should be nixed out, bro. I don't mind putting them in a cage match, but a Hell in a Cell.
Even TLC needs to be limited. I think that goes on a little bit too much. I mean, not now, but I think that was going on too much. Because we see it now with Cora Jade. They have these ACLs, Liv Morgan injury, Charlotte Flair's out with an injury.
Tegan Nox can't get right.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's why, because other promotions like AEW are doing those crazy matches, and the improper conditioning training can lead to a major injury, short term or long term, whatever the case may be. But I think a secondary title is definitely something that needs to be done sooner than later. And I would love to see what they're going to do back with it. And, of course, bring back WWE Evolution, All Women's Pay-Per-View, as well as the Queen of the Ring tournament and the Mae Young tournament. All that stuff needs to be brought back. And we could very well just be it could very well be something very interesting for that. So yes, they need to create a women's mid-card championship. Do it sooner than later. We got all the men's titles. You know, we just had the world title. They re-christened the women's world titles. They got the tag team titles that merged with the NXT women's tag team titles. And I think the only thing they need to do is undispute the men's tag team belts. But other than that, all the titles are pretty much solid. Roman, you know, he got one single title, and I think he's going to lose at WrestleMania to Cody now. I think that should be the next step after all of that is get a women's mid-card championship. And if you can, add an NXT version too, you know, do something. Because I see NWA and AEW. It ain't just AEW that has a TV title. NWA has one too, and that's small to AEW. So if they should do it, I don't see why WWE shouldn't do it. So I think it's only fair to the fans we do that. So. But you got anything else you want to add with the mid-card titles? This is a very good topic.
Nah, man, I think we covered all angles. They got our vote. They got my vote.
Definitely got my vote. Like I said, I would definitely, you know, we here at the TBS Turnbuckle Station. Now I did mention who should be the champion. There's a couple more names that I want to add that should be well deserving of one of these Intercontinental or Women's United States Championship. Now, she was in a big list, but I'll mention her now. Mia Yim, or Michin. We'll call Michin, that's her name. Michin, I think she should be a good candidate to win one of the mid-card championships. I mean, think about it. Michin, she was, after all, she was in the NXT Battleground and Art World Women's NXT North American Championship ladder match. She was in that match, and she didn't win. We know that the winner of that match was Kalani Jordan. Now, to make up for that, maybe she competes for one of these championships and actually win. Now, Michin, she's on a SmackDown superstar. I know she still does work on NXT. She still goes over there, but she's mainly for main roster and SmackDown superstar. Maybe she could win the Women's United States Championship. I think that'll help her out a great deal. I think that would, you know, definitely help her career. Because think about it, her career was in shambles. She had a great run in her original NXT run when she was Mia Yim. Then when she came to roster, you know, a few years ago with the Retribution, that whole stable, everybody in that stable was ruined. They're not even with WWE anymore. Think about it. Mustafa Ali gone, Mace gone, recently Dijak's gone. She's the only remaining member left of Retribution that's still with the company. And to help rejuvenate her career, they started out by putting Michin with the OC with AJ Styles and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Good Brothers of OC, whatever you want to call them. She's still aligned with the OC, and they started to get her career back on track. But to really get her career back on track, besides putting with a good, respected stable with the OC, how about a mid-card championship? And for her singles run, think about Michin. She's never held a singles championship ever in WWE, and all the time she's been here, she's never held the NXT Women's Championship. You know, she didn't win the ladder match for the Women's NXT North American Championship. How about let her win one of these championships? I think that'll help her out a lot, and it'll definitely put her career back in focus. And, you know, let her go, you know, let her continue to do her thing, continue her career out. It'll get things definitely back in motion with her. So I think she's another good pick. And I'll mention a couple other people. Iyo Sky is another good name that I think of. Iyo Sky, similar to Naomi, is a former women's champion. She just finished her WWE championship run. Was not the best run, but I know why they put the belt on her. It was mainly to get Bayley over so Bayley could defeat her at WrestleMania. But she could also still, you know, get her career back on track. Now, I know she's still Damage Control. I know she competed in the Queen of the Ring tournament. And she was even in the Money in the Bank, the match she won last year. She didn't win neither, not the tournament or Money in the Bank ladder match. She could win maybe the Women's Intercontinental Championship due to her being a Monday Night Raw superstar. Maybe that could help her out a great deal. That'll definitely help Iyo. And maybe she's better off as a mid-card champion. Maybe World Championship is not the best title for her right now. Or maybe it could be later, or maybe she's just a mid-card woman. Because she's definitely talented in the ring. No denying that. So maybe that would be a great deal for Iyo Sky. Like I said, she won plenty of championships. She's won the NXT Women's Championship. She was a tag team champion, winning the Money in the Bank last year, and later cashing in to become the WWE Women's Champion. This will be another accolade that can help out Iyo Sky's career. I don't see why not. That will definitely make her look good. And one more person I'm going to add, I know she's injured right now, Shotzi. Shotzi is another individual. Before she got hurt, before she tore her ACL, MCL, I know it was on the episode of NXT with then women's NXT champion Lyra Valkyria. They had a match. She came down on it real hard and she was just out. And I hope she does recover. But before that injury, she was doing her thing at the Survivor Series 2023 women's match. She was looking good on SmackDown. She was aligned with Charlotte Flair. Both of those two were working very well together. Now, I don't know what they was going to do with her before she got hurt, but when she does come back, she could be another candidate that could win one of the mid-card championships of the Women's Intercontinental or United States. Now, last my check with the whole recent draft, I think she's either undrafted or on SmackDown still. Whatever the case may be, when she comes back, whatever brand she goes to, she should win the Intercontinental or the United States Championship for the women's division. I think that'd be great for Shotzi. Shotzi really showed out. I was real impressed with Shotzi, as I mentioned earlier. She does very, very well for herself. So I think a mid-card championship would be exactly what Shotzi needs in order to become a future women's world champion. Because who knows, Shotzi, if she has the right time in putting a mid-card belt on her, which is one of these belts, maybe that could lead to her become a future women's world champion or a future WWE women's champion, because Shotzi don't get talked about enough, and that was even before she got hurt. She was starting to get talked about, and then she came down with the injury. So I think that would be a very good deal for Shotzi. I don't see why it wouldn't help her career at all. So much respect to Shotzi and Iyo and all the women on here that I'm highlighting. They'll be very good for these championships. But WWE needs to get that done sooner than later, because it's been talked about too long now at this point. But Shotzi is definitely one of the women in the division that I could see being one of the inaugural Intercontinental or United States champion. I think she has what it takes to become a mid-card champion and future women's champion as well. And that's all I have regarding when would WWE begin the women's secondary titles. And we are here talking about the WWE Women's Intercontinental and the WWE Women's United States Championship that's been talked about, and they're saying WWE is going to move forward with that championship. And we already have the Women's NXT North American Championship that's going on right now, and I think WWE see how that's going, and they're going to finally put things into gear and getting that championship going. So I cannot wait until one of those championships, or if both, do come out for the women's roster, and it will definitely help the women's division as the divisions keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So I cannot wait to see what the next move is going to be. Hopefully by the end of this year, or at least early next year, get these championships going. So thank you all for coming out. This was a great, great topic. Soon to be able to pop up, one will be who is the next NXT Women's Champion. The next video will be NXT Heatwave May event recap. And until then, you guys already know what it is. It's OUNT.